In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of RINN English News with me, Nimosh Kitsas. The Iranian president says the drop in the pace of coronavirus infection in the country is due to citizens' abidance by the social distancing plan and businesses' compliance with health protocols. In remarks at a meeting with heads of expert committees of the National Coronavirus Headquarters on Saturday, President Hassan Rouhani thanked people for staying at home to help stem the spread of the virus. He said, a considerable number of people have not only observed health directives, but also have abided by the stay-at-home motto very well and have not left home except for necessary affairs. President Rouhani further called on the Health Ministry to specify conditions for medium-risk businesses to resume work. The president also asked the local media as well as the state radio and TV to keep urging people to observe health protocols, stay home, and avoid non-essential travel. He said the Ministry of Health and Medical Education should work closely with relevant institutions to offer training to people and convince them of the necessity of abiding by the regulations and directives communicated to businesses which have resumed work. The head of Iran's Health Ministry's Public Relations Office said on Saturday that 73 other COVID-19 patients have lost their lives in Iran over the past 24 hours. Hence, the country's total death toll reached 5,031. Kianush Jahanpur said 1,374 new cases of infection have been detected since Friday noon, adding 80,868 people have been confirmed infected to the coronavirus disease so far in the country. Jahanpur said 55,987 Iranian COVID-19 patients have recovered and they have been discharged from hospitals so far. Jahanpur urged people to keep staying at home and added, despite all the sanctions and animosities, Iran will continue to fight the virus. Now, Iran has allowed some businesses in the capital and the nearby towns to reopen on Saturday after weeks of lockdown aimed at containing the worst coronavirus outbreak in the Middle East. Gyms, restaurants, shopping malls, and Tehran's Grand Bazaar will remain closed. Shrines and mosques are also closed, and a ban on public gatherings remains in place. Government offices have reopened with a third of employees working from home, and schools and universities are still closed. Traffic was heavy in Tehran early on Saturday, the first day of the working week. Authorities allowed businesses outside the capital to reopen a week ago. A health technology complex, including several innovation acceleration centers, was inaugurated in Iran on Saturday as the country unveiled 6 homegrown products used for diagnosing and treating the coronavirus. In a ceremony at Shahid Beheshti University of Medical Sciences and Health Services in Tehran, Iranian Vice President for Science and Technology inaugurated the university's Technology and Innovation International Complex. The new complex will include innovation acceleration centers contributing to the development of innovation and technologies in the country's health sector. On the sidelines of the event, Surena Sattari unveiled 6 homegrown products for coronavirus diagnosis, screening, and treatment. Last week, President Hassan Rouhani ordered the Health Ministry and the Vice Presidency for Science and Technology to focus efforts on the development of a vaccine for the COVID-19. He also called on the domestic organizations to conduct a study on the use of a new diagnostic test kit for detecting people with immunity to infection. The coronavirus COVID-19 is affecting 210 countries and territories around the world, infecting 2,304,360 and killing 157,980 people. However, 588,048 cases have fortunately recovered. Only in the past 6 hours, over 25,000 new active coronavirus cases have been identified. Omid Haydari has the story.
The COVID-19 fatalities mounted in the United States and hard-hit Western Europe states But fresh data on rising infections and deaths in Africa showed the virus is leaving no continent untouched in its global march. More than half of the humanity, about 4.5 billion people, were confined to their homes, with evidence mounting of social distancing success in slowing the pandemic. But widespread nervousness remained over when and how to ease confinement measures to revive the world economy, battered by what the International Monetary Fund has dubbed as the Great Lockdown. The daily number of confirmed deaths across the globe remained high at over 8,800. Out of the total number of calamities by the COVID-19, over 73% are only in 5 countries, namely the US, France, Britain, Spain and Italy. Each one of these countries has its own problems. So far in the United States, 726,856 people have been diagnosed with the active coronavirus cases and 38,200 people have lost their lives. With more corona deaths, the U.S. authorities anticipate to find bodies in the streets and parks. The U.S. President Donald Trump, who has been accused of reacting too slowly to the coronavirus threat, alleged that Beijing's numbers were still not accurate. Trump did not offer evidence, but pressure has mounted in recent days on Beijing to come clean over its handling of the original outbreak. Trump is also at odds with local officials about reopenings in different states. Trump, whose re-election in November could hinge on how fast the U.S. life returns to normal, appeared to endorse protests against the stay-at-home orders in several states, although he has officially left it to governors to decide when to lift lockdowns. In Florida, the governor, a close Trump ally, gave a green light to reopening some beaches and parks. But in New York State, with its namesake city, the hardest hit in the world by coronavirus, Governor Andrew Cuomo extended the shutdown order until May 15th as he accused Trump of not helping in efforts to expand testing. Signs of the economic damage of the pandemic also mounted. The New York governor says, with the coronavirus still marching in the state, we have no commitment to Trump's orders. The COVID-19 is still taking toll in fast pace at the Green Continent. Leaders in France and Britain have also questioned China's management of the crisis, and French President Emmanuel Macron said it would be naive to think Beijing had handled the pandemic well. Beijing hit back earlier on Friday, insisting there had been no cover-up. Governments around the world are grappling with the question of when to reopen society, seeking a life and death balance between unfreezing stalled economies and preventing a second deadly coronavirus wave. Germany became the latest country to unveil plans to lift some restrictions, taking on the delicate task of reopening without triggering a new wave of infections. The government declared its outbreak under control and said selected small shops will be allowed to reopen on Monday and some children would return to school within weeks. Switzerland, Denmark and Finland were also gradually reopening shops and schools, and even in hard-hit Italy, people began emerging from lockdown. In France, with 147,969 active corona cases and death of 18,681 people, a nurse has published a video footage that shows wearing plastic bags just like garbage bags due to the lack of medical equipment and hygiene material. Polls in France proved the public is unhappy with Macron's government handling the situation. In Britain, there are 114,217 active corona cases and 15,464 people have died. In Italy, there are 175,925 active cases and 23,227 have died. Spain has 191,726 active corona cases and 20,043 deaths. However, Euronews has reported that the exact number of deaths by the COVID-19 is not publicized crystal clear and accurate. Euronews cites the number of deaths in nursing homes and other non-hospital places are not put on the record. Canada had 32,412 cases and 1,346 deaths. In Brazil, Sudan, Tunisia, Libya, the Dominican Republic and the United Arab Emirates, travel restrictions have been extended for another month. Turkey has also 78,546 corona cases with 1,769 deaths. Turkey has put in place harsh travel bans. Japan, Britain and Mexico all expanded current restrictions. And in Russia, recorded infections topped 36,793 as President Vladimir Putin warned the risks surrounding the epidemic's spread are still very high, not just in Moscow, but in many other Russian regions.
Iran's foreign ministry says it is in contact with other countries, including Italy, to make arrangements to help Iranian nationals abroad return to their country amid travel restrictions imposed following the coronavirus outbreak. Iran's foreign ministry says it is in contact with other countries, including Italy, to make arrangements to help Iranian nationals abroad return to their country amid travel restrictions imposed following the coronavirus outbreak. In a statement on Friday, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman reacted to allegations made by some uninformed individuals regarding the return of Iranian university students from Italy. Abbas Mousavi emphasized that the Iranian government is working in full coordination with its institutions to fight the COVID-19 and reduce its repercussions. Iran's army took delivery of a massive number of reconnaissance and combat drones on Saturday. Iranian Defense Minister announced that a massive number of multi-role reconnaissance and combat UAVs, as well as Karar and Ababil-3 drones produced by the Aircraft Manufacturing Industrial Company, has been delivered to the Army's Air Force and Air Defense. The delivered drones will cover an important section of air defense and Air Force operations and can be used as target planes as well as for deception on the enemy's air defense networks. Brigadier General Amir Hatami said, the multi-role drones have a speed of 900 kilometers per hour and a range of 1,000 kilometers and can be deployed for a duration of 180 minutes without interruption at an altitude of 40 to 45,000 feet. He added, Ababil-3 drones are mid-range combat drones with the capability of carrying various electro-optic and combat equipment. And on that note, we come to a wrap of this edition of RINN English News. Join us tomorrow with the latest updates. Till then, take care and have a very great day. Goodbye.